Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to ROBMOTIVE JT. That's right, we had a channel change, name change recently, I guess. Back to the old JT name for Jeep truck, right? Which we're in right now. Got to make a little trip, a little errand, so I thought I'd bring you guys with me. Here's a quick look. You guys can see the gauge cluster. It's got 131 miles on it now. There's the radio screen. Let's see if we can light it up and then turn it down. That's what the screen looks like. Of course, it has a bigger, longer, wider, whatever screen in the truck now. We have a little cloth area and a little insert here that does not fit. I forgot to take that out after I tried it. There's the back seat area. You guys can see back there. And we have our second, I guess, actually, little mod there. A couple of grab handles, one on each side. Just a little bit of green. I don't know if that's what she's looking for in this truck, but that's what we've got so far. Up here is her little hanging butterfly thing. I don't know. She likes that, so I guess it has to stay. We're going to go for a drive. This will be my first kind of real drive in the truck, I guess, since we got it. Other than bringing it home from the dealership, of course. So I'll let you know what I think about it, how it feels as compared to the last few Gladiators I've had. This is a 2025. It is the sport model Nighthawk trim edition, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that's what it is. Let's go for a ride. All right, we're on our first drive. One thing I want to point out right away, dealerships, of course, always overfill the tires. So the tire pressure is always way high. This truck calls for 36 PSI. When I checked it before I left, it was at 43, 44 PSI. So I let out a lot of air, and it makes a big difference. And I noticed when I was driving it home, you know, on the freeway or going over bumps and things, that it felt a little floaty, you know, like with the tires overinflated, kind of a little bouncy, like, you know, really kind of strange, too firm, I guess, too. So anyway, I let the air out. We're at 30, I'm running it at 38, even though it calls for 36. That's because I know that we're going to lose pressure over time, and it doesn't take long down here with swings in temperature this time of year. It's really hot and then it's really cold, plus fronts and things that go through. So that's the first thing that I noticed. The second thing, it has auto stop in it. My other ones did too. I can't stand auto stop. I'm probably going to look into one of those auto stop eliminator solutions. It's just kind of a plug-in feature that you can put between two wires to simplify it, so that it remembers the last setting that you had it on. In my case, auto stop off. And I will tell you, it does work in this truck. Before I realized, or I guess wanted to, it was working fine. I pushed the button and turned it off. So now, until I turn the truck off again, it'll be off. I know it's not a big deal, but it's annoying to me. The drive itself, now that the tire pressure is the way it should be, is excellent. I mean, it's nice and smooth. It's not bouncy. And I'm comparing it to my wife's Jeep Wrangler two-door, the one that we traded. That thing was terrible. Bounced all over the place. I even noticed the steering would kind of turn a little bit when you went over bumps and things. Jumpy, I guess I would call it. And that's really because it was tighter because of the lift. It had a 3-inch block and spacer type lift. Yeah, I know. We didn't know any better when we did it. That was the first lift I think I've ever done to any vehicle, and it was definitely not great. Yeah, we're pulling up next to another Jeep Gladiator here. But it was horrid. Didn't like that at all. And of course, this one doesn't have any lift. We may lift this. I'm not sure yet. My wife, she wants to change the wheels and the tires, and she mentioned something about a lift. So we may do that. We'll see. I'm going to give it a little bit of time, and I don't know. And I'm not sure how high we would go. I think if she wants to go 3 inches like we did on the other, that's going to be a pretty substantial lift on this truck. And of course, getting a little bit more wheel poke on the tires on this would be the goal. She likes it, I like it too, so why not? But that's down the road. And I get away from the main point. First drive in the truck. All the settings and gauges and all that stuff, ergonomically arranged correctly, as I'm familiar with anyway. This isn't my first Jeep Gladiator, of course. I can reach everything. I can even reach the glove box in here. That's nice. On full-size trucks, you know, I've had a few Tundras, a couple of F-150s, even a Ram in there. A couple of Rams, I think. You could never reach to the other side without leaning all over everything beside you, and it's because they're just so massive inside, right? I think this truck, or mid-size trucks in general, are the perfect size because they're big enough that you don't feel confined and you still have enough room, I guess, but not at the expense of being able to reach things within the truck. Now, another thing, what about wind in here? You know, this truck is basically a rectangle or a big square on wheels, right? And you do hear some wind noise. I'll be quiet a second, you guys can listen. It's not terrible. It doesn't bother me, but I know there are some sensitive groups out there that, you know, wind noise kind of drives them crazy a little bit. I don't really have any problem with it. I think it's okay, no issues. Visibility, you know, it is like a big square with windows on wheels, so you don't really have a problem seeing anything out of this. I like that. The better the visibility, the better, right? The mirrors on the side, big enough, and they are power mirrors, by the way. I remember I was going through the Maroney, the sticker, the other day, and I came across power mirrors, and I thought, boy, does that mean that they're power and they'll fold in if you hit a button? No, it means that they're adjustable power mirrors for the mirror itself, so you can adjust the mirror. Don't know why that didn't dawn on me, but it didn't. They are not adjustable power folding mirrors. I guess it would have said folding if they were. The sound system in it, you know, the Jeep that we traded, it did have a subwoofer in the back, and you really could tell a difference. It had an excellent sound system in it. This is okay. It's not horrible. I mean, it, you know, it could be upgraded, and maybe we'll do that down the road if she wants to do that. I'm not sure. For me, I don't really have any big issue with it. When I have the radio on, I think it's just fine. Fit and finish so far, from what I've noticed, you know, one of the big complaints on the Toyota Tacoma is fit and finish and paint, right? Everybody likes to complain about that on the Toyota Tacoma. I haven't noticed anything on this truck yet. Everything seems to be spot on. The gapping, the paint. Now, I haven't washed it by hand yet, and that's when you can really tell, is when you wash something by hand, right? But still, looking over it in the dealership delivery area, you know, it's always lit up real nicely. You can see everything, and I didn't have any problems with it as far as anything paint-wise on the truck. It looks pretty good, and you can kind of just tell looking at it. It almost looks like it's a thicker paint than, say, what Toyota uses. I don't know. Can you really tell that by eye? Maybe if you look in the door jambs and you see areas that have not been painted. What can we expect from fuel economy? Well, it doesn't get great fuel economy anyway. It is a V6. It's not turbo. Rated, I think, at 19 combined. Not a big deal for me. It is a truck. I understand that. I don't really care. If I was looking to get better fuel economy or better mileage, I guess I would drive a smaller car, something with hyper mileage to it, right? Or hyper miling capability, you know, one of those 30, 40, 50 mile per gallon things. Not an issue for me. The color, gotta mention the color. This is the number 41. I think it's pretty cool. I know it's a throwback to 1941. I guess the color of the Jeeps back then. They did a great job with it, and it kind of reminds me a little bit, kind of Gobi. And I really like the Gobi colored Gladiator that I had. It was my first one, and I'd have kept it, to be honest, except it had some kind of weird problem. I don't even remember what it was, but something was wrong with it. And so I traded it actually for a different one. Anyway, love the ride of it. Love the Jeep Gladiator. I'm glad to be back in one. Honestly, I've missed one or having one since the day I got rid of it, but it was time to move on back then. Now it's time to be back, And I'm really glad that the wife agreed to trade off her Jeep to get one, because frankly, we didn't need to have 4 vehicles for 2 people. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've just gotten one recently, or maybe you're thinking about getting one. What do you think of them? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.